everyone, welcome back. So, Girls Can't Be Kind to Otaku. Episode 1 kicks things off with a very familiar setup, the shy, awkward otaku boy and the popular flashy girls. But unfortunately, this premiere struggles to do anything interesting with that formula. We are introduced to Takuya Seo, your typical introverted anime fan who keeps to himself and overthinks pretty much everything. His world is small, safe, and built around his love for anime. But that comfort zone quickly gets shaken when he starts interacting with two popular girls in his class, Kotoko and Kai. Now, on paper, this sounds like a setup we have seen hundreds of times before. The unlikely friendship between completely different social circle is a classic anime trope. But the problem here is that episode 1 doesn't really bring anything new to the table. Instead of building a strong central story, the episode plays out more like a collection of small, loosely connected moments. Takuya has a few interactions with the girls, slowly realizing that they are actually nice, and that's kind of it. The biggest issue, though, is Takuya himself. The entire episode leans heavily on his internal panic reaction. Every small interaction turns into a full blown mental breakdown. And while this might be relatable in small doses, here it's turned up so much that it quickly becomes exhausting. Instead of feeling sympathy for him, you start to feel frustrated. And that's what makes it worse in his initial attitude towards the girl. Before even getting to know them, he already labels Ichihi as an airhead and assumes the worst about both her and Amane. There's no real for this judgment, it's just there. And then the moment they show even a little kindness towards his interest, his entire opinion flips instantly. That sudden change makes him come across as shallow and inconsistent rather than someone genuinely growing or learning. And the episode doesn't really address this flaw, which makes it harder to connect with him as a protagonist. On the other hand, the girls themselves are actually pretty likable. Ichi in particular stands out with her cheerful and friendly personality. There's a scene where she is just casually wishing people a good day, and it highlights that she's genuinely kind, not just putting on an act. Amane also feels grounded and easygoing, making the duo feel more interesting than the main character they are paired with. Visually, the episode does a decent job. The animation captures the visual high school anime energy well, especially during exaggerated moments like Takuya's panic reaction or the more stylized girl shots. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's solid. That said, the opening moments are a bit rough. There's noticeable stiffness and choppiness when the first episode introduces Takuya's perspective, which isn't the best first impression. Thankfully, it smooths out afterward. Overall, episode 1 is okay, it's not terrible, but it doesn't really stand out either. The concept feels overused, the main character is hard to like, and there's no clear hook to keep you invested long term. If future episodes focus on actual character development, especially for Takuya, there's potential here. But as a first impression, this is pretty weak start. Right now, Girls Can't Be Kind to Otoko feels like a series you would only stick with if you're really into this kind of trope heavy high school dynamic. Otherwise, there are definitely stronger shows worth your time this season. Thank you for watching. Bye.